Hey guys, I thought I'd try making some more nice looking videos with me in it. So I can practice speaking in front of the camera and all that stuff. So I went out, I got myself a tripod, a little microphone that records into my phone, and I also got something interesting on eBay so I could make a video. Well, I didn't only get it because of that, but here it is, so let's do something with it. So what did I get? Well, it's an MSX computer, and it looks like this. Now this one is from Panasonic, but they were made by lots of different companies, and they're made to a standard, so they should all work with any game. Now there are different types. There's the first MSX, then there's the MSX2, the MSX2 Plus, and the MSX Turbo R. Now this is an MSX2, and MSX2 is like the most popular one for games. Most games work on this one. There are a couple of specific games that only work on the Turbo or that uses functions only available in the Turbo. And there are also some games that take advantage of the special scrolling, hardware scrolling that is in the MSX2 Plus. Stuff like that. But you can do most of the stuff on an MSX2. So if you want to get your own MSX, I recommend either an MSX or an MSX2 or MSX2 Plus. Alright, so why did I want an MSX? Well, it's actually one of the very first gaming memories that I have is playing an MSX. And I didn't even know that it was an MSX until maybe 2 weeks ago. I found this random thread on Reddit and someone had linked a video of classic games for the MSX, and I found a game that I've been looking for ages, like since I was, I don't know how old. I probably played it like late 80s when I was like 5 years old, so I really only had memories of this game, and I remember that I thought it was great when I was little, and I really wanted to find it again, and finally it just popped up on the internet, so I wanted to go out and get myself an MSX just to try it. Now, unfortunately, I don't have that game yet, but I will be able to play it because I also got a flash card for it. So I found this MSX on eBay for the end price was $215. It came with the console itself, or the computer, or what do you want to call it. It came with the power adapter. It came with actually a controller, the official controller for the machine, so that's kind of cool. I mean, it's super small, and I don't know if it's gonna work okay, but I'm gonna try it out. You can also use like Sega Mega Drive controllers and just wire them up differently. So if you have like the least bit of knowledge in soldering, you can make your own controller work with this thing. And also one game, so at least I have one original game. And it's actually a quite sought after title. So it was, the price of $215 isn't very much when you consider that this game itself usually sells for like 100 with the Castlevania, basically. It's called Akumaju Dracula in Japan, and it was released on the MSX. Now it's quite different from the Castlevania on the NES, but it's also very similar in graphics and sound and everything. So we're gonna have a look at that, and then we're also gonna check out some other stuff that I got. I got the FM pack, which is basically a sound card for the MSX. So the MSX has built-in sound, but it's only NES style sound. So this will add FM synthesis to your games. So games that support it can use this and play some nicer music. And I went out and got a flash card, as I said. Now this is the Mega Flash ROM. And I also got it with a memory expansion of 512K. So I can play all the games that needs more RAM than the 64K that this particular MSX computer has from the beginning. So it just looks like this, and it has an SD card on the SD card slot on the top. And that will allow me to play basically any game that is compatible with the MSX2. It can even emulate like a floppy drive or something like that. Now flash cards are great. You can play all the games you want. Of course, originals are sort of nice to have as well. But if you're just after the gaming and you want to do it on the real hardware, then flash card is great. Now the computer is Japanese and I live in Sweden where we have 240 volt outlets, so I'm going to have to do something about this big chunky brick. I mean, this weighs a lot and it won't fit my outlets and it won't fit my voltage. So just for the time being, I went ahead and went out and bought a step-down converter. So this will turn our 240 volt into 110 volts. Now Japan runs on 100 volts, but I think it's close enough that it should work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rip out the old PVM monitor and set it up on the table here, and we'll see some actual gameplay. But before we power this thing up, let's just have a look at this power brick. Now I need to use this converter as well, and that brings the total up to like the biggest power brick I've ever seen. So I'm probably gonna have to do something about this. I'm thinking I'm probably going to change the transformer in the original power brick to just accept 240 volts down to whatever is inside, probably like 15 volts or something. All right, so it's all hooked up, I think. Let's see if we can get something working now. Lovely CRT sound there. Whee! That's very much chroma there. Right, so there we have Castlevania, or Akumaju Dracula. I'll raise the volume here so you can hear the game. Push space. Yeah. So there's no scrolling in this one. Oh. Just keep spawning, huh? Oh. Now the keys are backwards. A actually is the whip and the B is jump. So I'm jumping. I'm jumping when I'm supposed to hit them. I have no idea what I'm supposed to do. I know in regular Castlevania you can just punch walls and there will be health. Okay, so I found a key. Well, that's that. Let's see what happens when we start it up without anything in it. Now what you're looking at is the built-in software of this particular computer. So it's got some calendar functions and some small games and stuff, but it's all in Japanese and really weird, so I'm not going to use that very much. But it's going to cause me trouble later on while I try the flash cartridge. I have no idea what this is. So yeah, I don't know. The time? Calendar. roulette. I have no idea what that is. So 6 looks like a space shooter of some kind. Maybe not. I'm sorry guys, I have no idea what this is. Then we can get into basic. Now this is where I noticed that the keyboard on this machine is not good. It's missing several keys that I can't even type at all. Especially like the A key, the shift key is really weird, and the backspace isn't working as it should, and a lot of keys are just making double presses or not functioning at all. So I ended up taking it apart. Now I didn't mean for this to be a repair video because the computer seemed to be in such great condition, but I took it apart, and the keyboard is made up of basically 2 plastic sheets with some metal inside, the small contacts. And what I noticed when I took it apart, I didn't even know if I was going to be able to get this back together again, but I took it apart and there is some sort of corrosion on these small metal things. You can see, like this one for example is the A key, and it's like a brown color. Compare it to the one next to it, and you can see that it's like a lot more silvery colored. So what I did was I took a Q-tip and I started rubbing with some rubbing alcohol, and it actually seemed to come off. Actually, on the A pad I actually took off too much, but it seems to actually at least it actually works now. I can press the A key, but it doesn't function like you would expect it to, but I can, if I need to type the A key, I can do that now. So I fixed up some of the bad keys and put it back together again, so yeah. Alright, so now we can test the flash ROM. I didn't show you this before, but I had a lot of trouble with the flash ROM to get it loaded at all, because I didn't know that I had this faulty keyboard, so I didn't have a working delete key, and you actually need to hold the delete key when you boot it up to start into this menu. Anyway, now it's working, and it's a little bit fiddly to get it going because you need to use F-disk to format your SD card, but there are tutorials on that online, and once it was done, it was quite simple. So I will just fast forward past this part and then show you some games. Alright, so when you have a game loaded up on the flash card, the flash card works as any other game. So you just restart the computer with the flash card inside and it will boot straight into the game. Alright, let's start with the game that I actually bought this computer to play, which is Maze of Gallius, or Nightmare 2, spelled with KN. So it's actually a follow-up to a previous game, which is more of a shooter game, but this is closer to something like Zelda or maybe even Blaster Master for the NES. So it's a side view adventure game, and you go around and you fight bosses, you level up your character, and well, it's going to be a bit tricky for me to play because the way you summon the bosses in this game is actually to type the name of the boss on the keyboard, so I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do that, but yeah, here's some gameplay of it, and this just really brings back flashbacks for me. I mean, this is the first game I remember ever playing on any console or system ever, so yeah, it's really giving me flashbacks. And this is an MSX1 game, so this will play on any MSX.
you don't need an MSX2 for this. You can see that the graphics are kind of, well, simple. The sprites are very simple, and there aren't many colors, no scrolling, no nothing like that. And oh, listen to that music. Great game. And now let's load up something a little bit more, something that will show the power of the system a little bit. And this is not only due to the power of the system, because it's got some clever programming tricks in there to do some really nice scrolling, even though I don't have an MSX2 Plus. So this is a game called Aleste, or Aleste, something. And it also takes advantage of the FM pack. So I now actually have the FM pack plugged in, so you can hear the difference in the type of sound that you can get out of the computer with this sound card installed.
So I've been playing with the MSX all day now, and what can I say? Well, it's working. It's not as good it's not in as good a condition as I thought when I saw it, because it looks absolutely beautiful, but the keyboard is really worn out, or some things happen to it. It's aged. The computer itself doesn't look to be used so much because it's in so good condition. So I'm thinking it's something to do with just corrosion over time or something. But yeah, so I finally managed to get the flash card working, and it's due to this Japanese computer with a built-in ROM. Now, the MSX standard is sort of, it's universal, so every MSX is going to be to a specific specification, but they will have some quirks like that depending on who made them. There are MSX computers from from Panasonic, Sony, Sharp, Philips, lots of stuff. So you are going to find some special things with each one. Some of them have disk drives, others have tape drives, some have more RAM, less RAM, expansion audio built in, so you don't need the FM pack thing. So if you want one, you're going to have to pay something like what I did. They're not cheap. If you want an MSX2, if you don't have friends in like Japan who can go on Yahoo Japan for you and search stuff, then you're going to have to go to eBay. And on eBay they are really expensive. Like $200 is not unusual like mine, but mine came with a game. It was really good. They usually just come with the computer itself. You maybe won't even get any power cables or anything. I get the power cable, I get the controller, I get the game, and everything works. So except for the keyboard, but I think it's a good value anyway. And the controller actually works fine. It's a little bit tiny and it's only got 2 buttons, but it works. And in some games you even need to type stuff in on the keyboard anyway. Like for the Maze of Gallius, when you need to summon a boss, you write the name of the boss and it will appear. I'm not sure how that's going to go now with this keyboard, but I'll try it and see. Yeah, and so some games have more RAM requirements. The Japanese computers usually have less RAM than the European ones. The computer itself is not like region coded. You can play any game from anywhere on any MSX, except for like 1 or 2 games that has something built in. But it will work anywhere, so just buy any one. The thing to look out for is basically if you're going to have to use a transformer or some type of converter for your television. Now this is a 60 Hz NTSC machine, but if I want to play a European game, I can actually switch that with this Mega Flash ROM cartridge. It has a 50-60 Hz switch in it, so you can control that with basic software. So I can play any game in the correct speed now. You can do the same if you get the Mega Flash card. Otherwise, if you get a European one, games will from Japan will play a little bit too slow, and some people will find that annoying. Just like with the NES, I always play all my games in NTSC nowadays because we got so many bad ports that I never really even realized when I was a kid. If you can't find an MSX2 Plus, which I recommend you would look for, so you don't have to mess with any incompatibilities, and the MSX2 Plus usually has the FM sound built in and more RAM and everything like that, so you don't need any extra things. Go for an MSX2, but one with more RAM. This one is like the minimum MSX2 you could probably get. It's got 64K of RAM, but the expansion thing on the Flash ROM is makes it like just bearable. But it's got so much stuff built in, and the keyboard is really bad. I think you will find some MSX computers with a lot better keyboards out there. So anyway, have fun.